Good morning, I'm Erin Lanahan.
I'm Jocelyn Person. Somber news today. St. Bonaventure professor Dr. Kimberly Young died yesterday after a long battle with cancer. Dr. Young was a woman who was not only famous for pioneering the movement on internet addiction, but a professor for 18 years.
I started studying internet addiction in 1995, shortly after a friend of mine's husband was addicted to AOL chat rooms.
Dr. Kimberly Young passed away Thursday morning after a courageous battle with cancer. Young had been teaching at St. Bonaventure since 2002 at the Gendoli School of Communication and the School of Business. A licensed psychologist, she is recognized internationally as an expert and as a pioneer on internet addiction and digital detoxation. Dr. Young founded the first U.S.-based inpatient hospital clinic for internet addiction at the Bradford Regional Medical Center. With over 50 journal articles, multiple awards, and 4 books on internet addiction, she is well known throughout the world.
Kimberly Young's books can be found here at St. Bonaventure University in the Gendoli School of Communications near room 108. Books like The Internet Addiction in Children and Adolescents can be found in multiple languages such as English, Japanese, German, and even Italian. I spoke to multiple professors in the Gendoli School about her and her professional life here at St. Bonaventure.
She's just such a kind person. She's very conscientious, very steady, stalwart, dutiful. So it's neat to be able to know her on that level, aside from just being a professional colleague of hers.
Brilliant. You can't do all of that without having this first-rate mind, without having this stupendous brain.
She was so humble and so down to earth. She never let that renown and that fame go to her head at all.
I'm sure glad my life turned out such that I got to know Kimberly Young. My life's a little better for that, and I'm very grateful for it.
Nicholas Gallo, SBU-TV, New, Now, Next.
Yesterday, the university issued a statement of condolence to faculty and students at St. Bonaventure. As of right now, funeral arrangements are incomplete and will be shared with the university community when they become available. Breaking right now, Ellicottville High School on lockdown. It's all happening right now. New York State Police and the Cattaraugus County Sheriff's Office are on the scene. That's according to Channel 2 Buffalo. We don't know the reason for the lockdown at this time. We will have more details as they become available.
We're continuing to follow the decision on turning a former convent in Olean into a family shelter. After SBU-TV's Sean Mickey brought you the story from the public hearing earlier in the month.
Raise your hand, and that is unanimous.
A vote to table the hearing on turning the former convent into a woman and family shelter passed unanimously Thursday. This, after those representing the potential shelter could not attend due to personal circumstance.
They had an unforeseen personal circumstance and could not get here tonight with us. So.
People in support of the shelter came to the meeting, not knowing that the hearing would be tabled. A new hearing will be scheduled for late April. Sean Mickey, SBU-TV.
We'll be sure to continue our coverage of this story over the coming months.
Last Friday, a federal judge in Texas ruled a male-only military draft unconstitutional. Could this mean women may be required to enter the draft soon? SBU-TV's Teddy Caputo has the story.
On Friday, February 22nd, U.S. District Judge Gray Miller declared it unconstitutional to have a male-only draft in the military. He admits the Supreme Court ruling in 1981 to exclude women from the draft was fully justified since they were prohibited from combat. However, after the Pentagon lifted all restrictions for women in military service in 2015, Judge Miller believes women should be required to enter the draft.
I'm standing right outside of the ROTC headquarters located in the basement of Doyle at St. Bonaventure University. Although the government hasn't enforced the military draft since the Vietnam War over 45 years ago, a men's rights group called the National Coalition for Men argues that a male-only draft violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause.
I spoke to a political science expert and some students on campus about their opinions on women in the military draft.
The military has long had a reputation of fostering equality in our society.
I understand that some women might not be fit enough to enter the draft or might not want to enter the draft, but the same thing goes for men where they are not fit enough to enter the draft or they don't want to enter the draft.
Just lately, women have also been able to be in those combat roles, and that's a big step for women now. So if we can be in these combat roles, why can't we sign up for the draft?
I think that women then would have greater opportunities if they were drafted into combat positions.
The ROTC department at St. Bonaventure University declined to comment on camera their political views on the issue. However, they did tell me that they do have policies they are given, and that if women being required to enter the draft is a new policy given to them, then they must enforce it as one. Bringing you New Now Next, I'm Teddy Caputo, SBU-TV.
Although the draft hasn't been used since 1973, American men ages 18 through 26 are still required to register for the draft.
Previously, I reported on finding students in blackface in an old St. Bonaventure yearbook. I decided to dig around more and spoke with a university archivist about the pictures published. A 1955 yearbook shows St. Bonaventure students dressed up in blackface for a minstrel show. I'm standing outside the Friesman Memorial Library where they keep all types of old Bonaventure memorabilia, like these old yearbooks. I reached out to Bonaventure officials to comment on these pictures, and I'm still waiting to hear back.
The end of this building. Devereaux did exist.
I spoke with Dennis Frank, the archivist at Bonaventure. He gave more context about the pictures found in the yearbook.
This was a major production here on campus. It was a concert to raise some money for the chorus. Minstrel shows were becoming less common at this point in time, as far as I can tell, but they weren't considered out of the ordinary.
During the 50s, Bonaventure was not as diverse as it is now.
These kids came from all-white neighborhoods. They came to an all-white school, and it was early days for people thinking about race the way that we do today.
Although it may not have been an issue then, Dennis said the times were starting to change.
It wasn't considered controversial by most people, but it was beginning to be. But it took the 60s to bring the awareness of its inappropriateness to the surface.
I'm still waiting to hear back from the university about the photos. When I do hear back, I'll be posting an update on our social media pages.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world? You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Staring contest.
You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. We've all seen the famous movie Legally Blonde. Well, the Olean Community Theater presents Legally Blonde the Musical. The musical will highlight women's roles in society in honor of Women's History Month at the Olean Community Theater. Jennifer Simpson, the director of the musical, and Kylie Leslie, who plays Elle Woods, explains how the musical plays a great role in showing women empowerment.
I think it was just really important, especially with the Me Too movement, that a show like this is presented on stage. There is a scene where Callahan does push himself on her, and how she handles it and how she recovers from it, you know, shows what the Me Too movement is about.
People don't think of this show as like powerful woman's story, but it really is in a way. Like Elle Woods is very much a feminist, pro-women, women raising up other women.
You can watch the musical at the Allegheny Limestone High School Auditorium March 8th through 10th. You can purchase your tickets online at the Olean Community Theater website.
The Jandoli School of Communication honors its top students with senior awards. This year's Mark Hellinger Award is Michael Nelson. Maya Capolino has more.
Michael Nelson is the 2019 recipient of the Mark Hellinger Award, established in 1960. The award honors the top students of St. Bonaventure University's Jandoli School of Communication. I spoke with Michael about what experiences led to where she is today.
My recovery from an eating disorder, that was something that really impacted my my young adult life so far. I had to take a year off from Bonas to recover from that. So I think that even though it was like a horrible time in my life, it really shaped who I am, and I think I've come out as a stronger person on the other side of it.
Michael loves photography, walking around in cemeteries, and cycling. She explains her passion for writing, but how it is also painful.
A lot of times people will say, I like what you've written, and I think to myself, I'm so done with what I've written. So, but I mean, it is something that, in a weird way, I do love. At the end of it all, I do love to write.
Dr. Denny Wilkins, a professor of journalism and someone who Michael connected well with, explains what separates students of high accomplishment.
Attention to detail, common sense, and disciplined, intelligent effort. And Michael scores high on every single one of those. She is literally one of the 2 or 3 best students I've had since I started teaching in 1991.
Maya Capolino, SBU-TV, new, now, next.
The award ceremony will take place in the fall in New York City.
St. Bonaventure's Creative Writing magazine is running low on submissions this year. Does this mean the art of creative writing is dying? SBU-TV's Roisin Coleman finds out.
But I don't think something like this can ever go away.
In my hands is the oldest continuously published college literary magazine in the United States. It's called The Laurel, and it's published right here on St. Bonaventure University's campus. After 130 years of publishing, The Laurel is struggling to find enough submissions for the spring 2019 edition. Maria Raganese and Tori Wangler are the magazine's editors-in-chief. They say this semester, the university isn't offering English courses in creative writing. Although students are welcome to submit visual art, the magazine mostly consists of poetry, short fiction, and nonfiction pieces.
There's a lot of students that read and write creatively, but they don't know about this publication. They don't know about their chance to be seen.
However, according to the editors-in-chief and Professor Chris Mikowski, an avid creative writer himself, the magazine's low number of submissions doesn't mean creative writing is a dying art.
The game is changing in a lot of different ways. It used to be that there were just a few poetry journals where you could get your work published. Now you can put your stuff out on the internet and have millions of people see it.
It will never die, like creative writing, expression, art. It'll always be something that's there, whether or not students are fully engaged with it. I know there's so many students on this campus who have so much talent, and whether or not they want to share it with everybody, it's there.
For SBU-TV, I'm Roisin Coleman.
The Michael Cohen testimony continues. Also, spring break is here. How are St. Bonaventure students relaxing next week? Stick around to find out. SBU-TV, new now next.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. We've been following the Cohen testimony since our midweek update on Wednesday. We learned a lot about what he accused President Trump of. CNN's Gene Moose tells us what Cohen said President Trump didn't do.
Thank you. There were questions that left the witness repeatedly sighing at a hearing unlike any we've heard.
Mr. Cohen, you called Donald Trump a cheat in your opening testimony. What would you call yourself?
A fool.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Or maybe it was Cohen's suit. But what he said about Donald Trump wasn't all bad. Here are things President Trump didn't do, according to Michael Cohen.
Do you have any knowledge of President Trump abusing any controlled substances?
I'm not aware of that, no. I don't believe Mr. Trump ever struck Mrs. Trump, ever.
Have you ever seen Mr. Trump personally threaten people with physical harm?
No. He would use others.
Not exactly a Nobel Peace Prize nomination, but still. How about Russian oligarchs paying for Trump condos with cash?
When you say cash, if you mean walking in with a satchel of rubles, the answer is, I've never seen that.
And then there were the other women questions.
Do you have any knowledge of President Trump arranging any health care procedures for any women not in his family?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Is there a love child?
There is not, to the best of my knowledge.
The only thing pregnant at this hearing were the pauses.
What is the truth that you know President Trump fears most?
It took Cohen 8 silent seconds to digest that question and eke out a non-answer.
That's a tough question, sir.
A lot tougher than...
Is there a love child?
Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
Cohen will return to Congress March 6th, the same day he was supposed to start his 3-year prison sentence. A judge allowed his report date to be delayed 2 months so Cohen could prepare for his testimony.
President Trump left the U.S.-North Korea summit with no deal. CNN's Jim Acosta reports.
President Trump back at the White House, not upset with how things turned out in Vietnam.
We actually had papers ready to be signed, but it just wasn't appropriate.
The president and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un unable to strike an agreement on denuclearizing the Korean peninsula.
I want to do it right. I'd much rather do it right than do it fast.
Mr. Trump's decision has bipartisan support.
The president to be commended for walking away when it became clear insufficient progress had been made on denuclearization.
What he did in North Korea was right. He must do the same thing in China. Hold out because he has the upper hand until we get China to do the right thing.
Chinese officials are calling on the U.S. and North Korea to keep the lines of communication open. And although the president hasn't committed to a third summit with Chairman Kim, there's still a bridge between Washington, D.C. and Pyongyang.
We are anxious to get back to the table so we can continue that conversation that will ultimately lead to peace and stability, a better life for the North Korean people, and a lower threat.
I want to take off the sanctions so badly because I want that country to grow. That country has got such potential, but they have to give up more.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
According to the New York Times, North Korea has the fastest growing nuclear arsenal.
It's time for spring break. Madeline Edwards found out some Bonaventure students will be spending their time off school.
Hi everyone, I'm in my room getting all packed up for spring break. I spoke to some other students to find out what they'll be doing for their spring break. I spoke to freshman Sonal Mahindru, whose plans include her going home to New Jersey.
Volunteer EMT at my local first aid squad, so I basically hop on the ambulance, go around helping out.
She also intends to spend time with family. I also spoke with senior Sarah Koenig, who plans to go to Fort Lauderdale.
It's actually 17 of us, and we rented an Airbnb.
She's spending the week with her friends, enjoying the sun. I spoke to sophomore Anais Rivera, who plans to go home to Massachusetts, and she's taking time to celebrate with her mom.
My mom's birthday is on the 8th, so International Women's Day, so I have a whole day planned for her.
She also plans to study and catch up on some sleep. We posted a Twitter poll to see how other students on campus are spending their break. The majority are going home or traveling, leaving few students left on campus. No matter where you are, make sure to take time to relax and enjoy your college break. With SBU-TV, I'm Madeline Edwards. New, now, next.
St. Bonaventure University students get a break from class for 9 days. Coming up, we take a look at the new swim coach at Bonaventure. Also, our Jocelyn person traveled to Uganda. Find out more about her service trip. SBU-TV, new, now, next.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
In 2018, the swimming team welcomed a new coach and a new beginning.
I think it was awesome. With only 13 girls, I think they did phenomenal. I think the men did something that, like I said, if we had finished 4th, I would have been just as happy. But once we got in the 3rd spot, they even rose more.
Skip understands he has a lot of expectations to live up to.
It's always challenging coming in as a new coach, especially like on our men's team with a coach like Sean that's so successful and such a great guy. They have a huge history and a huge expectation of, well, this is what we've always done. That's usually the hardest thing to overcome. It actually, it just pushes me even more.
I'm Zachary Murphy with SBU-TV, new, now, next.
Skip has said the future looks bright with new recruits on the way for next year. With the second semester of 2018-2019 in full swing, students are starting to look for internships to boost their resumes or get them a foothold in the industry of their choice. Here's Lily Stevens with some tips.
Spring break, a time to step away from the books and relax. But while students have all that free time on their hands, it's recommended that they use a little bit of it to look for internships. But how will one go about finding an internship or preparing for one? I spoke a little bit with an SBU senior, Tyler Grudy, about an internship he surprisingly found over Twitter.
I took one internship with the Commonwealth Foundation in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They researched economic policies, and I did various articles for them and did research for them, and I wrote for them. Try to apply earlier than later, sooner than later. Some places go by rolling admissions, so when the applications come in, they kind of decide as they come in, so there's no deadline. So you want to be careful about like when you have to turn in an application.
SBU also has a few tools to help its students find and prepare for internships. Clicking on the Career and Professional Readiness Center will give students Bonalink, an application that you create an account on that will look for possible job and internship opportunities in your field. They also have interview practice, resume and cover letter development, and search strategies you can schedule with the Career and Professional Readiness Center. Lily Stevens, SBU-TV, New, Now, Next.
I capture the unforgettable stories of the lives of the orphans and the director of the orphanage.
That was a need to do something, and nobody seemed to care that time, so I thought I could do something.
A need to help abandoned children, raped victims, and others who didn't have a place to go to will come to the Bethlehem Parents School, an orphanage that's run by Uncle Fred, a founder, a father, and a friend to the people in the orphanage. Fred explains the challenges he faced when starting the orphanage.
When I began, I didn't have money. I had completely nothing. All I had was the idea. But as far as money is concerned, I didn't have. So what we did was to start in like grass-hust kind, like a papyrus kind of thing. And our community, our school is called Kawempe, meaning papyrus, because we started, we didn't have iron sheets, we didn't have bricks, we didn't have anything. We could only get papyrus, which was available in the swamp, and to make a shelter. And when we had made this shelter, the government stopped us. They didn't want us to have all these many children.
Fred managed to welcome more than 300 children with open arms and provide them with education, food, and a place to stay. However, it's still a challenge for him to provide enough resources for the children in the orphanage.
Problems, garbage tray, the way students sleep, and the food. Those are the things that challenge us many times. It is not like it used to be. Those days there were no clothes coming from anywhere, so we used to buy for them. You can imagine buying clothes for 200, 300 children. It was really hard.
Though at times there can be limited resources for the people in the orphanage, people like Esther consider themselves appreciative on having a better home.
So life is great because we share the same rooms, we share the same food, the same clothes, we're brothers and sisters.
Esther also appreciates the hard work Fred puts into maintaining and providing for the people in the orphanage.
Though we don't have a mansion at home, but I'm feeling good with what we have. My dad takes good care of everyone he finds in the streets.
This is just the small unit of a big thing that we ought to do. But I can't do it alone, and I need people that can think like me.
Jocelyn Person, SBU-TV, New Now Next.
Embrace in Africa helps the orphanage by sponsoring the children and providing the resources that they need.
As we say goodbye today, we recognize the incredible life of Dr. Kimberly Young.
And the exceptional legacy she leaves behind.
For SBU-TV, I'm Erin Lanahan.
And I'm Jocelyn Person. Have a safe spring break.